Mr. Ethienne Reynecke. Welcome to the show. We have spoken briefly before. I know you've spent a bit of time with Dricus, so I thought it would be a good time to have a chat after the madness of the weekend. Thank you for your time, firstly, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Firstly, listen, I'm not very comfortable with doing this for you. I mean, like I'm a nobody in MMA, so I don't really why you guys would want to chat with me about it.
You say that. We know that you're an overly humble person, and we have to squeeze out this stuff out of you, but it's not about anyone in MMA. I think you've got a cool story. You've got a nice relationship with Dricus. We saw a cool video of you going crazy when you won, which was cool. Just talk us through the relationship with Dricus, like where that started and what that's all about.
I started chatting with him, and I think he probably needed. We was just looking for a couple of guys to train with him that's a bit bigger, because he was obviously preparing for a light heavyweight fight. And during the week, I can go train as well during the week, and it just happened. And I told Tal as well, listen, let's go, because he's competed against Tal as well a couple of times when he was younger.
Yeah.
So, Tol's not too bad. So
Not too bad.
And we came from that and just grew from that, and it actually worked out nicely, because he come and does his strength and fitness there at the yard.
Yeah.
And then it's close for us. It's around the corner, so I can quickly just stop, and then he does his session, or after that, he come does wrestlings with us as well.
Okay, fantastic. And what's it like? If someone doesn't know, you were last year you won the national. What was it this year actually? 2020's been 5 years long, so it seems like a lifetime ago.
It's just March.
You became the national light heavyweight champion with a devastating performance. I was there. I got to watch it. So it's not that they didn't just pick you because you're big and said come here. You do actually know a little bit what you're doing. You've got quite a background, which we'll get into. So what was that like, spending time? Guys in the camp, there's like a change. The atmosphere changes a little bit. The guys become a little bit more serious. What was it like in spending a bit of time in camp with a UFC fighter?
Listen, my man, let me tell you, like everything in life, there's levels.
Yeah.
And especially in MMA, in jits, wrestling, there's levels. And I've trained with loads of guys that's pro, even guys that's been in the UFC, like guys from America. And I'm telling you, Dricus is a beast at another level, man. He's at another level. And when I told to come train with as well, I said to him, Boyke, listen to me. I want to tell you, you competed with him, for wrestling and jits when he was young. But this is another level. Yes, I don't think he took it very serious about it until it happened. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, he was at that time. He was very focused. And he's almost always like that. Him and his whole camp is like that. So he's very hungry, focused. The intensity how he trained always. I think that's why it's hard for him to get partners, because he is at so much level above everybody, except the skill, the fitness. His fitness is crazy good. It is. I don't know how to say, and that's why I bet so much. Like I bet.
Yeah, we saw the bet slips.
I made two bets. Once I got again, and that's why I just, I knew this guy, because obviously before it was the music, the news was out, we obviously knew already about that. So we checked up this Marcus, and you looked at the first thing I thought was, bro, this guy, his intensity is not even close at what Dricus fight at. You know what I'm saying? And never mind that, the intent, how he strike. You know what I'm saying? He's. Do you know that left kick of him? Just he's hitting me. I think the Friday before he left with that, my man. And it's one of his, when a guy hits you, and you go.
Just gonna need a minute.
Just give me a minute. Just go from this. So yeah, bro, he's at the crazy level, man.
Dricus does. There was bloody elbow rock. Maybe you can find it. We can just reference that. They had a description of the fight. They broke it down and they were saying what makes Dricus exciting is his general disregard for defense. I was like, I don't know if that's exactly what we mean, but they're kind of saying like that's how he is. It's like hell for leather, and he just goes for it. And it was quite interesting to see him in the cage because he, you know, when you watch Dricus, and he's been like this most of his career in the EFC. He's very calm. He's very collected. Everything he says is well thought out. He's always got a plan, and he's always one step ahead with everything that he does. He knows where he's going, and I think that's what makes him so good. All the best fighters are like that. They know where they're going. But when he got into the cage, even with no fans, and you take away that sort of nervous energy, there was definitely nerves there, and I think he spoke about it. You know, even getting under those lights on that stage, even a guy like Dricus had to settle down and relax him.
I don't think he was nervous. I think the word to use was obviously just a bit stiff.
Yeah.
And tense. Tense is the best word,
Yeah.
I think, was to use. And unfortunately for this guy was, you know, obviously another thing is he's got respect for guys. He doesn't go up and open with guns, and he's got a lot of respect. You know, he's a very good fighter. So when he started feeling this guy, as it happened more, minute 1, minute 2, he just felt, hierdie ou het niks nie. Bro, and then he was like, okay, now we can go.
Yeah.
And bro, immediately, I saw the first shot when he had him. I knew, bro, this guy tasted it, and he was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. And that's why I said when I betted high on him, was this guy will not be able to live with that intent. Because his striking is intent, my man. Like, there is massive. And that's what happened, bro. That he kicked him, that guy, and normally that guy's a southpaw, and bro, he was pushed back, and he somewhat turned to the right, you know, and he felt weird. and he does also, when we were training, we do a couple of stupid elbows what he does.
Yeah.
And he was like, and he just tried it, and it was already too late. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, see you later.
Went for a nap. That was the craziest thing. You talk about Dricus's intent. And he caught him with like a short shovel hook. Obviously, it was momentum in that up elbow, but it wasn't the biggest punch, and he was light out. Eh? You don't see. And I remember once, and I'm gonna have to apologize to Dricus. I should have probably written it out and eaten my words on Simon Stevens' show, saying that. I wasn't saying that Dricus isn't a good fighter. I was saying he's the greatest fighter, one of the greatest we've seen, but he just doesn't have one punch knockout power like he used to in K1. So I think I have to write my words down, eat them.
Well, man, it's like I saw some guys that they were talking as well. Some guys were saying, because Marcus, he's got a black belt, you know, and Dricus is the same as like say me and Tal and the school of Mark Robinson.
Yeah.
Where there's no belts, you know what I'm saying? And Mark Robinson will kill you with his beer hands, you know what I'm saying?
With his white belt.
I mean, and I think you guys will know better. What is his record? It's about 9 submissions.
Yeah, Dricus.
Yeah.
It's like,
is it right?
Whatever it is crazy.
But
like
I mean, how
it's like six guillotines or 5 guillotines and 4.
Most of his
how can you
was
even say that are they going to question his submission of his ground? Bro, it's just because he knocked guys already out before that.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot. Dricus's a lot of his submissions
60%. 9
submissions,
wins by submission. Not a single decision.
Yeah, you see, there we go.
40% by knockout.
Bro,
or TKO.
and the thing is, he wants to get better. He's always looking for ways to get better and better, bro. And that's the hunger that I told you about.
Yeah.
So it's not like, okay, he's at this level and now it's just like, bro, he's looking at all times to get better and better and better. Bro, and I showed you that video what he does to Tal. Bro, it's a joke.
Yeah.
What he does to a high level.
Yeah, very high level. Very, very high
and he plays
level,
like it's actually a joke. It is a joke.
Like it's the thing with Dricus' submission game is that his submissions are very sharp and he doesn't miss them, but a lot of the time it comes from stand-up pressure. He pressures a guy to the cage to the point that they either throw it like a sloppy shot or they fold from the pressure, and that's where the submissions come. When it comes to overseas, it's quite funny because the way the overseas media and MMA research your background. So when they start talking about Dricus on the ground, because he comes from a K1 sort of background, they assume that he's a K1 style fighter. It was the same with Don Madge. They were like, oh, Don Madge is a Thai fighter. And we're like, no, there's you know, he's
another side of
yeah,
it.
there's
another side
It's not
as
just
well.
a Thai fighter, you know what I mean? So I think it's just the way that they actually research, because they don't have piles and piles of video to go and research, unfortunately. Well, now they do. But I think it's just the way it goes. So they research the wrong way. They look where you came from, you know what I mean, instead of what you've been doing like recently. Because, I mean, I think Dricus realistically, what did you say, Dricus? He must be a brown belt, at least black belt.
Dricus.
Yeah.
I tell you what, he's a brown belt in guillotines and rear naked chokes.
Yeah. But he doesn't.
Nothing
He never
else.
puts a gi on, so he's a white belt. If he puts on a gi, he's a white belt. That's the
No,
scary.
I haven't seen it.
I heard it. I think Justin said it on the CS podcast. So you can't say that. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
but I think that's the way it would go though. If he puts on a gi, he's got to put on a white belt.
Yeah, but you know, good luck
Well,
for him.
actually, Will from Durban actually
Well,
has an interesting story about how he progressed through the jiu-jitsu ranks, because he did the same thing. I think he was doing no-gi jiu-jitsu for years before he put a gi on, and I think he progressed through the belt so fast. They chucked him into a comp in the white belt division, and obviously the guy's been rolling for he can tell me it was like 8 or 9 years or something ridiculous, and he just wiped the floor with them, and they're like, okay, fine, you can have a blue belt, and then he did it at blue belt again.
Okay, we're gonna have to go more. Yeah, I think Dricus will be the. I'm sure when he's at the back end of his career, when it starts slowing down, he'll start putting the gi on more.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
no, I think everybody at this time there's not a need for him for now.
Yeah, it's funny because there's two schools of thought on that. Some coaches are like, you must get time in the gi, and others are like, why would you? You know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah, for me, I think his camp and CRT is a bit like this. The belt there, as probably as how I see it, is just come train. Let's compete against each other. That's where the belt is.
Sure.
It's a lovely camp there, guys. Really, like between him and Henny, of the Mornay, Cameron, and so now you must know. Can you think? And we're talking about how good Dricus is, and we talk about pro. You know, and I was 14 years pro rugby, and pro there is like it's almost like working corporate. You were there from 7 till 5.
Yeah.
And I think there's what a couple of it does as well, but he's changing the game. Like they are everyday whole day. They are proper professional. Now you must know how good Cameron is going to be, because he works with him every day. You know what I'm saying? And the boy is 18 or 19.
Yeah.
So can you know how good he's going to be when he gets at 26?
Yeah, he is massively exciting, young Cameron Simon.
Rubber man. I call him Rubber man. It doesn't where you put him as like Rubber man.
Yeah. He's massively exciting, and when I heard that he was going to be part of the corner going with, you know, it's like it's not just a corner man, you know what I mean? Dricus is taken out this time to groom this young chap, you know what I mean? I mean, Dricus is not an old man by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's 26 or 27 years old. He's taken this young kid under his wing. He's taken him to the UFC with him. Like, the intent is there, you know what I mean? From such a young age. I mean, if you told me at 18 that I must come and train every day to go to the UFC, I'd be like, sorry, pal, like, I'm just going to go fucking goof off on the couch.
Yeah, 100%. Marcel Opperman as well. So like, you know, and they know back on the boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure. There's no holding back at CRT, dude.
There's nothing. There's nothing. Absolutely none.
Yeah, I've spent a few days there filming and stuff, like when the guys are sparring, and it's not light. Let's put it that way. It's hard sessions, and only hard sessions there. But it is like that, and the guys live in the gym, and they're really pushing. I mean, obviously Dricus is the leader there. He's the guy leading the way, and I think Cameron Simon is exactly where he needs to be for now. He's got a lot of attention from his team, and I think Dricus is like really showing him what it takes. You know what I mean? And if you can do it the right way, this is where you'll be. And I think that's brilliant, man. And I think it's massively, massively exciting. I don't think we've had young guys. Okay, I suppose like JP, BK would have been very young in the system, but
Iga actually as well.
Yeah, but I'm saying to get the kind of exposure to go corner into the UFC and be like, neck in neck with someone
but
like that.
he's giving him the support to be a pro.
Yeah.
Yes, and then for me, that's basically why I said, remember, like that video that Smitty said, what he's going to be the first African champion. And there's a reason why I said, I will not have said him that if, to make him like a dick about it.
Yeah.
It's because if you think about it, if you're born in Africa, and you fall out of your mummy's what, and you go to a first year country.
Yeah.
You've got that support from a first country. For instance, let's say Usman, Marty.
Yeah, just sorry, it is Rourke is the one, was the flag bearer on that post, trying to tell people this.
Immediately on the post, how dare you call him the first African champion?
Rourke was the one who was behind you, trying to explain to people what was being said.
Yeah,
so
like,
carry on what you were saying here.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't see that. I missed
No.
that.
We know exactly what you're talking about. But carry on. It's a great topic. It's a great topic.
And let's talk now about Usman, Marty, or the American Dream.
Yeah.
So now he came to America from 5 or 6. Then he goes to high school, which got a good wrestling program, and then he goes into universities, NCAA Division 2. And that's almost like being pro already. Yeah. So they get supported. You know what I'm saying? They're coming into MMA. I'm not sure, but easy, but easy is probably the same. Imagine it now. You come out of high school, like, oh, what do you want to do? No, I want to do a bit of fighting, But other guys who doesn't go to university, they have to work. They're not pro. This guy, you live off a dole, so the government pay for you. We don't have that in South Africa. So he put all his time at being kickboxing. You know what I'm saying? So there's no support. Yeah. So that's why I said he's the first American champ. He's a guy that lives. Yeah. He learned his MMA in Africa or South Africa, and he fight out of like a club camp, like CIT. Yeah.
That's a massively important point, and that's actually something that we've never done well in explaining. Is you go to school, there's wrestling in your school. It's a massive system. It's massive. People don't understand. And like wrestling,
he was an all-American, eh?
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. So you take that for granted. I mean, if you want to do wrestling here from a young kid, you have to go to a club. You know what I mean? And your parents are going to cart you up and down on the weekends if they got the time, and then it becomes like it's a smaller sort of sport, and there's no doubt if you've been wrestling since you were 5 years old, when you get to MMA and you can adopt to some good striking, you've got a massive advantage because it's no secret that wrestling is like the secret ingredient there.
You're talking about wrestling. Like, a couple of times I go train there at Sloan, Wilson and Shane. Yeah. There at Centurion. Unbelievable work that they does. You know what I'm saying? I get so proud when I see the young boys there. Yeah. Like, that's 3 hours of they pushing those boys hard. He told me that the national German coach, he came there and he saw them training just at Centurion. And he said to him, there's more talent just in that club than the whole of Germany. That's crazy. Yeah. And that's what I said, but yet again, we don't have, the only support to us is they got, some of them probably put their parents, the last bit of money they've got a month to take their kids into that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's not easy, man. It's hard.
It's very hard, and then to get to the big stage from here is, and I don't think a lot of fans like understand that they get frustrated. I mean, like I know with Dricus, fans are like, but it's time we see you in the UFC. We're like, yes, we're trying. It's not that we're not trying. You know what I mean? It just takes that much more to get there. You know what I mean? It really, like, the stars have to align. You have to keep winning, and you've got to keep winning big fights. I know Dricus in his mind. That's why he wanted that light heavyweight title.
He planned everything, bro.
No,
Let me tell you, he's like almost like, for me, like McGregor. He was saying he's put in his mind and he's put everything in the right place to you know what I'm saying, and as I say, that hunger that he has with it, and he's clever as well. I mean, look at it. He's Afrikaner, but look how well he speaks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not, I know what a Dutchman I was before I went into Europe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a proper Dutchman, and he speaks very well. It's like a GSP, you know, like I was saying, well spoken. You know, he's put in everything in the right place to get here. And, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he's still going to be there for long.
Yeah.
It's going to be there for long.
And it's hats off to the boys from here going over there. It's extremely hard to make it overseas. From here, nothing goes our way. They don't want, the flights are hard, they're long, we're the forgotten corner of the MMA world. So,
And sometimes you'll fly out and your opponent is Paulo Costa.
yeah, exactly. Ask Soldier Boy. You know what I mean? Like it's not easy to get there from here. And I know like fans are like, oh, but it's time we see you in the UFC. Like, yes, dude, we know we're doing what we can, And these days, like, it seems if you don't have the right management, it's probably not going to happen. Like, you can do what you need to do. I mean, like Igor Cabeza, I think, is a good case in point. He's got all the talent in the world, but he just doesn't have that management that's really putting him on the mat.
Dog, my man, let me tell you,
Yeah.
there's one thing that people underestimate is dog.
Yeah.
Dog can win a fight. If you can fight a guy with legs, technique and skill, you can still beat him because if he's got more dog.
Sure.
100%.
For sure. So shout out to our boy Dricus getting the job done. I know it was
Money, fuck,
there were some tired people around here on
shame.
on
He
Sunday.
he probably missed out on that performance.
Oh yeah, shit, dude, he got robbed actually of that performance. Well, look, there
Blue,
was the craziest kick ever seen in the
Yeah,
world.
and then I mean the main sand, what the sand guy that look, he's spinning
Sandhagen,
kick.
yeah.
But it was some crazy. It was a very good. Yes, there was some good knock.
Yeah, Uncle Dana for sure could have given the debutant just a little slice, just a little extra check there.
Yeah, but you know what's gonna happen? He's gonna do exactly the same with the EFC. If do you want to fight? Yes. It doesn't ask God. Yes, I'll do it. They're gonna like him already for that. He's like. They're gonna we don't knew he was gonna. I said, bro, the UFC's gonna love you because they're gonna fight at any time. There's not gonna I'll figure that fight when no now.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was the same with UFC now. The first thing he does was he spoke about the EFC and he was thanking them for what they've done. That shows you what his character.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That I thought that was unbelievable. That's the type of character that he's got.
I liked how he said he was like, we've got to fight for you short notice, like very short notice. He was like, oh, do I have time to pack my bags? So like, no, dude, 2 weeks. Like, you're not leaving now. But I think that's the kind of mindset you got to have. And he was ready to go. And the media were loving him, man. They lapped him up. Dana White mentioned about his fight before, and if you don't know now, you know. So there was like all this momentum, and I think in Dricus's mind, as this was happening, it was like more and more pressure. You know what I mean? Like
he butchered his name one time, but
Dricus 2+3. That's it. Dricus 2+3. Yeah, give them. They're American. What can we say? But yeah, it's good to see. We're happy to have another representative in the UFC at long last. Fantastic stuff. Onto your side, sir. The long story of Ethienne Reynecke all the way to becoming a national champion. What I wanted to start with you, as a schoolboy, where did you go to school?
I was at first at 6. I was in Benviljoen, stayed up in the north, and then I came here to Springs, to Huguenot. The boys and rugby was the be all and end all. Yeah, like I did wrestling when I was younger, but that time at Springs, that time it was focusing just rugby, cricket, athletics.
Yeah.
Still good. I did a bit of swimming as well. So yeah, all of those type of normal traditional sports. At that time, I mean, I think there was a boxing there in Geduld there around, which is a rough area.
There's no gloves though.
Yeah, but at that time there was no wrestling clubs at that time there.
And then and from school it was your focus was just on rugby.
No, I'm an academic guy. Okay. The bursary that I got was academic one. Okay. That's what I got from. I was actually gonna go to Turks. I want to do medicine.
Okay.
I didn't happen because you still have to get a loan, get enough money to do all of those type of things. End up doing to Rao, and then it's the same, and it's very much the same as MMA. You have to work your way up there. It's not. I mean, the group that I went in, there was 86 Craven Week players, and I was young. I was 17 when I go to university. So I was a year behind them already. So that's you're already a bit behind with that. And then you just go, the chemistry, biochemistry, just focus. But all I did was study rugby. That's basically it's all that I did. And then you work yourself up and until you go into pro. Yeah, and then
the old green and red raw rhinos, eh? I was in that same system for a while. It's not easy. It's a large pool of very talented rugby players, and you got to try and stand.
Yeah, we were in a big. Yes, bro, it was really that. The Lions also very in a, how we say, a deep roster as well.
It was very deep.
Yeah, so then you have to fight yourself to it up, and I mean the same as that everybody does here in pro to make it. You know what I'm saying? The guys have to work for it.
I remember in our first year at varsity, we like the under 19 group ended up in like almost 3.5 sides. Like it wasn't really like an A, B, and C, but it was like the under 19s. It was the squad, and like we were like the C side, like the last 15, you know. And they would send us to like Crusaders and to all of these strange places, you know, where the oaks are coming straight off the bar. The smell of brandy in the scrum, it's hectic. And like it was so bad, like the level was so different. We would put like 110 on the board and the ref would be like, look guys, I'm just gonna call this. Like this is pointless. Like you guys are just running, you know, like these are guys trying to make it professional rugby, and you got guys walking off the pub 20 brandies down, they're just clapping or hiding, you know. But we were lighties, it's like youngsters and grown men. We actually ended up we played I think it was Invale Tigers or whatever it was, and remember Johan Roo, proper bit the guys, played against that.
He was still playing then.
Yes, and he was dirty, and he used to beat the snot out of us, and nobody would say anything. Even it was just quiet.
Well, I got my stripes for that, playing club rugby. So from, you know, the U20 playing for Rauwfest, and then you go play against the Randfontein Power, Pirates. You know, so that's how guys got your, I would say your respect, because you don't stand up to boy, to oom. But that's what I said, that's a character that you have. You know, so like when you go fight, not fight, but when you go up against older men that wants to kill you. And a lot of the young boys that goes into pro, they don't have that. And that's why they don't have that character. So when they're under pressure, they can't put their arms in a bag for that character. That's the only. So I'm hoping that rugby, club rugby is growing a bit more now, especially now that they're going to cut the amount of pro guys, and especially all of the small unions is going to be closed up. So on one kind, I think it's going to be very good for club rugby.
Yeah, sure. Hopefully. And then at some point you turned professional as a rugby player. Well, just talk us through that. You played in a few different places. Where was your first gig as a professional?
The first one?
Yeah.
I was actually the Lions, because but by the time I was under 21, I had the first contract with him, but they changed it from under 21 to under 20. So then I would have probably been captain under 21, and then is your chance to go to senior. So now you're in the middle of senior already there. But at that time it was 2,000 rand a month, so you can't live in it. And then from there I played the Crivens for one, because the Currie Cup, everybody played everybody. So there's a chance when they played a Currie Cup for the Crivens, and then I came back now to Alliance, and then I was all the years, and I was there until I go to Saracens, and then I played in Ireland for Connacht, and then I finished for Pau in France.
Okay. So quite a track around.
Yeah, I've been around.
Traveled over the world. Yeah. But I think that's like the sporting dream, though. You wanna get around and see the world, and hopefully make a little bit of money, not more than 2,000 rand. The Lions were paying.
No, it went better than that today, luckily. Yeah, but even after pro, like they take you for tens, places like Portugal, Bermuda, Dubai, Hong Kong. Mauritius, so that's the thing that rugby gives you.
100%.
Rugby is very good for me, and you always try to give back as well.
Yeah, sure. and then you ran into a few problems. Well, I would say problems. Then life started happening. So talk us through the things you had to deal with from there on. There was a stroke, a shooting.
But that was already that was about 2 years, almost 3 years after pro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So into your pro career, this actually started happening.
No, that's like I said. Then I was in Durban. So that's why because I stopped playing pro earlier than I should have.
Yeah.
Also personal reasons. So now when you come out, you need to get it out. You know, because I was far from actually finishing rugby. I still had, you know, I could still compete.
Yeah.
And that's when Durban, where I started, when I immediately landed there. So I was a couple of months. That's where I trained. That's where I met Justin. Training with Sensei Ryan, the GBH, and I thought, look, let me out this. I always wanted to, you know, you've been following, I've been a fan.
Yeah.
So I thought, you have to measure yourself. Yeah, so that's why I say, like, I had a learning graph that was quite high. So you get guys like also William as well, William Ober also, that he's very keen to teach you. The guys like Greg Ayers, you know, so there's guys that, in terms of jits, he learns you a lot. So I was lucky with that. And then I came for work back to Joburg, because I always said I will never come back to Joburg, and that's typical how it is, isn't it? I sold my house when I was in France. I sold my back to Joburg, so I'm never coming back to Joburg. And then you come back, and that's where I started training with Mark Robinson and Talbot Guy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm lucky actually with it. You know, and that was, it's all like there, there's all big guys.
Yeah.
Dwayne Meredith, this massive guy.
The beast.
Yeah, Rian Klutu. Even then, Sims by stand up. I mean, I'll take you guys like Brian Hart.
Yeah.
I mean, he had his first pro kickboxing fight when he was 16. I've got videos of it. You know, in the middle of Wembley. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of guy. So I could learn quickly from my guys. But yeah, and I can then go. I wanted to, like I said, I thought that sometime I'm going to just try and get a pro license. But we're not even going to talk about that now.
That's your subject.
Yeah, well, not really. It's actually funny. But yeah, and then 2018 was a hard year. End of 2017, I was in Bermuda. We were playing there for South Africa it's like a vet Springboks game. And then from there, the WWE asked me to go train there for a week. So in between that and when I came here, I was doing a bit of stand-up and kickboxing. Yeah. And I got a need. I think Brian also kicked me there. I still told him he burst me my milt, my spleen. So in between that, for the whole December, I thought, yes, something's not like as you leave it. And on the 3rd of December, I went wrestling there at Mark's, me and Rian Klute. And when I come at about 3 p.m., I thought, yes, I couldn't move anymore. Like, it literally feels like cement here. I left it now, I'll walk it out. Broer about 9. They picked me up there by the Albans. They took me up in, so just tell guys if I don't feel well, it's not a stroke. I got a physio. Just if I don't feel well. And they picked me up at the ambulance. But at that time, I couldn't even move. And took the MRI. But it was just blood everywhere. So the spleen was burst. And I've obviously been there for long.
Yeah.
And at that time, to be fair, all my operations and rugby years was they did in the morning, and then during the day they take you out. You go home. So I haven't really been in hospital the whole night. I was for a month in ICU. Yeah. Anyway, and then obviously in August I had a stroke.
So when was the spleen?
That was in January.
January, then in August.
In August it was the
so
stroke.
a month in ICU and then a stroke.
Quite a couple of weeks again in ICU.
And the stroke was quite serious. You had to relearn quite a few things from there.
Yeah, bro. That was the problem was when I had the stroke. Again, big harde gat tyd. Yeah. I knew what had happened, and I was like, okay, I feel it. I'm just gonna sit down, and I'm basically into like a semi-coma. And my daughter she woke me up only 5 hours later. And said, "When you speak, I sound like Z. You remember Z?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, something's wrong here with him." And then I got it. It was a stroke. Yeah, that's because I left it so long, the whole left side of my brain was dead. So, and then I got a physio from it. So, physio is that you can't compete if you don't understand what guys are saying or talking. So I had to learn to read, I had to learn to speak. And I still have a problem with hearing. I told you, if you give me a name, I have to see it, I have to read it.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I still have that problem. So you go from being a commentator for Supersport. So I was doing with my, in our case, was at my master-in-law was in the UK, from that to learning to be able to speak. And it was like my daughter was 10 has to finish my sentences. Yeah, that was so it was a bit tough. You know what I'm saying? It's
sounds crazy tough.
Yeah, like apparently, and I can't even. I remember the next day because I had to fly to Cape Town to work for Supersport, and I never missed a flight. And I must have saw it at 7. The time is. Now I'm just saying in my onderbroek, I'm saying with the EGC wings, and I just have to fly like, and I started running. And they had to catch. Nobody could catch me. Not the police, ambulances. I ran for 4 kilometers to find that house just in front because I can't miss this flight. And because of that, they had to put security at the ICU. Because they're scared he's going to be running around again. Oh yeah. So yeah, that was and that was like stroke awareness is quite from a big thing, because you know, it's a thing that kills the most people in the world, you know, especially in first world countries. Yeah, so it was, yeah.
And it's a crazy thing, a stroke, because there's no there's not often a warning. There's no pre-signs of it. It kind of just it comes. I mean, we have a friend who had to go through the same thing. She's still struggling, like, to learn to read and to converse. She had a vein collapse in her neck. It just collapsed, and she had a stroke. And I mean, like, young, like not even 30. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a very, very scary thing.
I think the lifestyle is a big thing about it.
Sure.
So at that time, I trained at night still with Greg, and then the next morning, the guys wanted to do some wrestling with him, and it was very warm because I was looking for reasons. I was looking for why for this. You know, so I wanted to know what has happened to me. So obviously at that time, I had my own fund trading. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was sleeping about 2 or 3 hours only. So you're not living healthy.
Yeah.
And you was training hard still. You can't do that. You know, I found 2 academic papers where I said guys who got strokes, the guys whose the epicenter, like under your arms, like guys that sweat a lot. I sweat like a fat person, like heavy. And you must have no hair. If you got no hair on your body, I've got no hair around that area. So I found that, I think probably from that, but there's a load of factors from that. But to be fair, since after that, obviously I've been eating a lot better, intermittent fasting, because I did the intermittent fasting for my hormones to help me speaking again. So because I was told about this and I tried it. Bruno, so many other results that I got from it. But got so much fat.
Yeah.
You know, so I went at that time I was at 100. So now I'm walking around at 93 again. So I'm eating a lot more healthy. Just you have to look after yourself, you know.
For sure. So what sort of fasting period are you having at the moment?
I try to always try. Depends on your views. So I always try not to eat before 1. I want to eat only about 8. You know, so sometimes I push it all the way to 4 or 5. Depends if I only train in the afternoon, and then you only eat almost like a caveman, just eating once a day for that. You know, I try when I say I try to do vegetarian. Obviously I have the braai and then you eat some meat again, but I just want to try not eating bad.
Sure.
So like everything that I hunt self, I eat that self a lot from that. I'm just trying to be a lot more healthy. You know, a lot more.
Speaking to the hunters over here, we've got a freezer full of impala downstairs.
Oh, absolutely lovely.
It's the best. It's crazy, man. So Rourke and Warren went out not so long ago, and shot an Impala for me, and I literally I'm like 70% Impala right now. That's and it changes everything. Like your whole cardio system changes. It's crazy to me. Like, I mean, I've always heard about it, but I've never like I mean, you've had bits here and there, and from the time the Impala came, like every Sunday, that's what I do. Like I prep the whole week's meals purely based around the Impala and like good carbohydrates and veggies in there.
It's like an athlete. That thing's run around. It's only eaten what's on the from the earth. Nothing's been grown for it.
Exactly. There's no hormones. The hormones and stuff. Yeah. The bad fat, which is obviously from my stroke as well. You know, if you think about it, from a stroke, think of a hose pipe. So that's why the water wasn't clean, and then you do like a closing, and as you do it now, all that shit is sitting in the side, and that's stopping it. And that's also I want to just try to eating more clean.
Sure.
That's what the biggest thing. And that's, for instance, especially when I train hard, then I eat vegetarian because I just feel in terms of my recovery, you know, my inflammatory thing. It's a lot better. So we have to learn and get on with life.
Yeah, we do. We do. Unfortunately, the stroke wasn't the end, though. There was one more last turn for you. Yeah. Was that the same year? Was it 2018 as well?
Yeah, that was 2 months after the stroke.
Did you get to the end of the year and be like, "Can I just catch a break at some point?"
And then 2020 came.
Yo.
Yeah. It's you know, it is what it is. You to be fair, I can't even believe that I'm not dead. Because the guy shot me from here. I still believe he didn't really want to shoot me. And then he decided, fuck that, let me kill him. And then he ran after to go shoot me. And then I think I was on a 4th shot where he hit me. Like to show this bit of a shot. The older I got here. Got hit there.
But went through the
but literally like it feels like a baseball. But hit you. It goes like, kong. It goes like kong. You hear it. It's like it. Exactly so. So it literally took, I think what had happened, because it's a 38, like all again, like that is, it's old police guns. And I think what it does, if you're not trained, we were talking about before about training, as you pull it, you do this, you pull and you do that. And I think that's the angle. And it hits me from here, it literally took the bone off, just like that. So, yeah.
How many times in ICU that time?
Yes, it's true.
I hope you had a loyalty card at that point. This one's free.
ICU just checking it in. Jeez, man, that's. And here you are getting Dricus du Plessis ready for his UFC debut.
That's probably. That was training was almost worse than getting shot.
Oh man, it's been a wild ride. What do you think about all of that now? Like looking back on a year like that, still being here, still kicking ass. What is that like?
I think the reason why I competed, because remember before all of this thing happened, I have had a couple of fights amateur as well, and then obviously it was only in January. When Justin said, "Listen, why don't you come and do this?" First I said, "Bro, I didn't even talk about the stroke. I was like, because I was just too happy to compete again. Not even compete, but I started playing rugby for the Legends again. But just a couple of months for it to beg the doctor, so please can I do this? So I could start training again and doing wrestling and all of those things. And then and when I said, "Bro, I'm old man, why not?" And then I thought to bed, why not, my man? Why not? You don't want to wait till you're 45 or something. I should have done it when I was 38. And I mean, I saw now on a weekend that KSW, I think it's the guys were fighting for Dricus belt, wasn't it? The guy with he's 40 and look at that knockout. Unbelievable.
Ankershaw or whatever. That crazy flying kick. He fought Scott Askham, who's also, I think, also in his 40s or late 30s. Yeah, so you still got many years to go. Then we can still get you to KSW.
I don't feel about that. My journey is a bit different for that. For now, I focus for that World Champs. You know, there was that project what the guys are making for that in terms of a documentary and stuff. So for my that focus is just for that. You know, like I said to you, you can't just say you're going to go into pro, because there's pro where you get just doing a fight every year for you're saying there's pro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to do just to prove something. You know, you want to. I've got a lot of respect for the sport,
Yeah.
and especially being pro and what it takes to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm not too sure. Like, but we'll see.
So for now, the goal is still to focus on world champs, get to the world champs, pick up a medal, and then see what happens.
For that project to be successful, I have to win that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I said. Like, it works only so nicely when we were training with Dricus, because I was focusing on that. You know what I'm saying? After I won that thing, and I thought, maybe I was just like, I'm going to put a lot into this. You know what I'm saying? So for that to be successful, I have to win that world champs. So
is that extra pressure now?
No, not at all. There's absolutely nothing for me in it. Not nothing, but for me, it's the same almost. To explain to you, it's the same. Let's for instance, Dricus now. When you're talking about pressure, when you know the message that he came after that, what he was talking about the murders, the farm murders. I think it was in the back of his mind. That was a lot of pressure for him for that as well, because now he earned that's his project to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And he had to win to have that. Exactly. He earned it. And that's the same with me now. To be talk about awareness about the stroke, and to make a documentary about it, and especially to show that light on strokes, is I have to win that world champ. You know what I'm saying? For that to have to say, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
So that's why I do it. So there's a reason and why I want to do it. I'm not just doing it because I want to be a fighter. There's a reason for it.
A little bit, and something a little bit bigger than yourself, which is
100%, and that's the same actually what Dricus did now.
Yeah. It's such a good point with Dricus, because it's, you know, like, MMA fans are crazy, man. They're very crazy. And like, there was a guy who messaged me, and he's like, there was a lot of strange stuff in there. You know, someone was like, don't you think Dricus should use the opportunity to say something about farm murders? And I'm like, dude, there's a couple of factors here, because firstly, one of the great things about MMA is that it stayed relatively politic free for quite some time.
100%.
And the second thing is, if Dricus wants to say something about that, when he has the opportunity, he will. If he wants to. If he doesn't, he doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot of courage to do what Dricus did, because unfortunately it is still a contentious issue. You know what I mean?
But he earned for it. Exactly. He earned for it, my man.
Exactly.
He earned that privilege.
And what you were saying is that he carried that with him through the whole of Fight Week, knowing that, you know, a win here will give him that opportunity to shed that light on something way bigger than himself as well. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I don't think I could really understand what it means to have to go and do something like that, like what you're trying to do, purely just to shine a light on something that's got it's so much bigger than you. You know what I mean? That's a beautiful message, and I think it says a lot about your character and who you are and what you're trying to do. I know the project is still underway, and hopefully the world will get back together pretty soon, so the world champs can actually happen, and we can see the end result.
But like you said now about, you know, in terms of MMA, there hasn't really been a lot of politicals, you know, saying, and that's why the reason why I love MMA. Yeah. For me, it's the purest thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? There's like if a rugby, there's politicals and we'll get choose, but rugby of fighting is completely. When I say fighting, I'm actually battling another man or another woman, one-on-one. When that cage is closed, there's no race, there's no religion, there's no language. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's no of that shit. That's the purest thing in the world. Yes, it's the purest thing in the world, and that's why I think, like I said, there isn't really a lot of politicals in it at all.
Yeah, it's a great escape if you're a fan. You know what I mean? It's you just get to shush everything else out, and I think even in the trainings like that, you know what I mean? There's no. any sort of combat sport training, there's no chance to think about something else because something is always coming at you. It's always reactive, so you don't have that. I mean, your hour or 2 hours on the mat or in the ring or in the cage gives you that opportunity to completely blank out. You know what I mean? Like what you're dealing with is right in front of you, and you're right in that moment. You can't now start thinking about politics or what's for dinner or what happened yesterday. It all has to be like very in front of you right now. You have to live in that very second.
But if you even train on a mat with guys, like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter who he is, what class he is. From now, immediately you're tight with this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's also, bro, it's the purest thing that it is for me.
Yeah, 100%. It is, again, thank you so much for your time, man. I love hearing your story. I do believe there's way more levels to your story, but I think we've got a great amount of it today. We wish you all the best with this Worlds project. You've got a book on the way. I'll be waiting for my signed copy when it's out.
It's not mine. Firstly, whoa. It's not mine. This is a guy that's writing.
Yeah, but it's a book about you.
Yeah.
So we're very excited about that. I am personally very excited about that. I think it'll be a great story to be told, and I think a lot of people can learn a lot about being positive and keep going.
Not feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah. After hearing what you've had to go through in such a humble way, and still be able to be here and kick ass and help our athletes get to the UFC. I think that's great.
Have they given you any sort of heads up as to when World Champs might go?
Well, I'm still working on December. William said they haven't said it's not going to happen. So I'm working on it.
Because it's supposed to be, it's like in Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay.
So a load of Russian guys from there.
Nice.
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Not going to be easy.
Yeah, the Kazakhs are not, they're not built for sewing silk. They're some hard boys, some very hard boys. But
like a lot of supporters there. So it's like a...
And what you were saying is, you want to talk about the differences. Those guys go through like national systems. They've got government backings for the national systems to get
it's
done.
It's all that they do.
Yeah.
It's all that they live, breathe. They do it every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is another huge glaring difference between our athletes who are just trying to fund themselves into these sort of situations. So yeah, it's going to be tough, but we know you're going to do great, dude.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward.
Thank you for your time, brother.
Thank you, guys.
We'll chat to you soon.
Appreciate it.
See you, man.
Ciao.